Nicholas, I'd like to start with you. What do you think of Deadpool 2 this time around?
I had a great time watching this time around. These movies are so fun. They're irreverent. They're self-deprecating. They're raunchy. They're pretty much everything that I want to be in life. And going back and rewatching them, I think you hit the nail on the head. They just look like they had a fun time trying to make this as fun as possible. I like this one. We'll get to it at the end, but I think this one definitely, the budget shows. You got the action sequences are bigger. It feels like a bigger movie to a degree. And I think that, Ryan Reynolds stepping back in as Deadpool, they hadn't lost a step. What's crazy to me is going back and being like, oh, this wasn't that long ago. They're making so many references in this that, because I always think of the Deadpool franchises as being sort of like alongside or maybe right after the X-Men, but they're not. This is not that long ago, right? And so to have some of these modern references come out and be like, oh, right, I totally forgot that, these guys we're coming hot off the heels of the second one. The third one is pretty cool. But yeah, great time watching this. Laughed out loud for a lot of things that I had totally forgotten about. The baby legs, I totally forgot about that.
Shirt cocking in.
And man, did not see this the first two times I watched the movie, but there is in fact a little pea shalik in there.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
I missed it.
I think
paused, got up close.
Yeah.
it's wildly. I'm like, I think I saw a little
dangler.
Little dangler.
Wow.
Sticking out. Yeah.
Wow. I should have brought this up in the fun facts. There's I don't know if you guys remember this, but this movie came out in, I already said this, but what was the date?
2018.
In May 2018. In December that year, they re-released it in theaters under the title Once Upon a Deadpool. Do you remember
That's
this?
with Fred Savage.
With Fred Savage. They were doing the whole Princess Diaries thing. Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Princess Bride thing.
Very similar to Princess Diaries.
And I went on YouTube and watched, because I'd never seen that cut, and they made it a PG-13 or PG cut, probably 13, to cut out a lot of the excessive gory stuff, and pretty much any time Deadpool actually kills himself, like they don't show that stuff, they cut away. But all of the Fred Savage scenes are freaking hilarious. Like they're so funny, and you can just watch them on YouTube. But like I recommend it because like it's real good stuff. But Greg, what did you think of Deadpool 2?
I had such a good time with this last night. For both Deadpools, I would say in the 50 movies we've watched, let alone everything else we in review, and I'm not even on all of it, I kind of feel like I got lost on them in terms of like, what were they about? What were they, you know what I mean? Like I remember certain scenes and stuff like that, but going back to Deadpool 1 and enjoying that last week, but being like, man, a lot of the humor didn't hit for me this time around. Deadpool 2 is the opposite of it, where I feel like the majority, if not like the overwhelming majority of it all hit for me, where I was laughing out loud, taking notes of lines that I really, really liked. I thought the action was great. And it, for me not being the action guy, I thought it was so enjoyable, that opening, scene of jumping in and him just being a merc and killing all these people. I think it has that classic upswing of what I like in a sequel, which is like, we're just picking up, and there's no more. We don't have to do the stage setting. We are just ready to go. Here's what's happening. Let's get it. And I love that, and I love the escalation of it. And again, I think some of the comments I made in our Red Hulk, Captain America: Brave New World. That's what it's called, right? Yeah. Okay. Reaction, I think, are an interesting time capsule, where it was me saying, watching that trailer, oh, I like what I'm seeing here. This seems like this will be a fun picture. I think my expectations for a Marvel movie are far lower, not in a horrible way, but just we've had so much Marvel stuff and so much bad Marvel stuff and mediocre Marvel stuff, that taking those expectations to this, I think probably are why I enjoyed this so much more. Deadpool 1, I remember pretty well coming back to. Deadpool 2 literally started, and me and Jen were both like, did they break up, or is she, oh right, she's, okay, cool. And then it's like the monster thing, we were like, what's the monster? And I was like, I want to say it's Juggernaut, but that doesn't feel 100%. And I was in like, so it was like,
it's in the Ant-Man 2 area for me when it comes to just memorizing what the hell, or remembering anything of what happened in this movie. Yeah. Like so much of this felt like a fresh watch, Yeah,
and I had a great time with it. Really, really enjoyed it.
Andy.
I liked it. It reminds me a lot of like when you like that small unsigned indie band and then they get signed, and it's sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. And I feel like it's really hard to kind of replicate that spirit of the smaller sort of entry with Deadpool 1. But in so many ways, this movie does do a lot of things better and some things worse. I think the only moments where the humor didn't hit for me was just the topical stuff, which is surprising. I thought the humor was going to be a lot more missed than hit, but it really is just like the stuff that puts you in a time capsule and puts you back where they're making fun of dubstep, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when this. I remember when this was like a joke that we were making back in the day, and it didn't hit, and especially the way they try to execute those moments didn't quite hit. But it really only is those things. Like, so much of the rest of the humor does hit really well for me. There's a lot of just really damn good, clever lines, I thought, and I enjoyed Cable. I enjoyed seeing Josh Brolin back in this role, and the little reference to Thanos is hilarious. And there's so much to like about this movie that I expected this was just going to be, I'm going to watch this sequel again, and it's going to be the less good version of the first version. And there's still a lot to enjoy here.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim?
I'm right there with you. I love this movie, and I last week was like really surprised by not just how well Deadpool 1 stood the test of time, but that I actually think it gets better over time. And I feel like with watching 1 and now 2 and then leading into 3, I think there's a potential that this ends up being like my favorite trilogy of the Marvel movies. And like, that puts that up there right now. I'd say Guardians is the gold standard of that. Captain America's is really
Spider-Man's
good as well.
up there.
Spider-Man too. But even then, Spider-Man, like I feel like there's a cohesion potentially. Like we haven't seen the third yet, but between Deadpool 1, 2, and 3 of the build up to him and Wolverine hanging out, that like is unbelievable that it's actually happening, and it just feels so earned with all the references and how much more. Oh my god, yeah.
This little piece of
Fucking Nick's been working over here on his laptop to get the perfect frame of this guy's dick for so long.
little diggy.
But I feel like with the Spider-Man trilogy, it's like they with Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame, like getting in the way, quote unquote, of the Spider-Man trilogy. It doesn't feel as cohesive,
Sure.
But I feel like there's a potential here for this to like really kind of stick the landing as a Deadpool 1, 2, 3, in addition to having the wider consequences on story and all that stuff. But for Deadpool 2, I totally agree with you that it does so much better than the first, but not everything. And I think the thing it majorly misses is 1 is so tight and clean of a story and themes, and these characters.
I think the heart is a
point A,
lot
point B, and the
stronger,
heart is there. Here, I feel like there's just a few too many storylines that I don't dislike any of them, but I find it a little hard to follow how Cable and them being in jail, and then there's the Vanessa being dead. There's just a lot of threads where at certain points this kind of feels like you're skimming through a season of TV as opposed to watching a movie. This episode is brought to you by Harry's. I always hate it when I buy something and then talk to someone else and realize I way overspent and they got it for cheaper. It's happened to all of us, but getting ripped off is no joke, especially when there's razors involved. The people at Harry's were tired of seeing everyday people paying way too much for low quality shaving products. So they found a way to make beautifully designed razors without laughably high prices. You can get better designed and better value grooming products made by a company that forged their own path in the grooming industry. Harry's has been keeping me looking right for years, and you already know I looked so good at my wedding thanks to that very close shave from Harry's. Highest customer satisfaction in the shaving industry. No risk trial. If you don't like your shave, no worries. It's on them. Convenient subscription options that you can cancel at any time, so you can stop getting ripped off. With Harry's, you can get a shave that's a cut above the rest. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/kindafunny. That's harrys.com/kindafunny for a $3 trial set.
Major announcement. I wrote a children's book, and you can buy it right now. My first ever children's book, Portillo the Wiener Dog Thinks He's a Manatee, is available as a limited run at kindafunny.com/store. I'm forever grateful to Kinda Funny best friend Josh Strickland for stepping in to help turn my dream into a reality with his amazing original illustrations. To celebrate the book launch, we're also bringing back the Portillo hat and t-shirt, along with a fun new crew neck that you can wear while you're reading the book to your kids or pets. Head over to kindafunny.com/store right now and check it out before it disappears.
Having said that, I can't believe how much sense the Cable character made. Like, we're gonna introduce this time traveling fucking mutant with like all this complicated stuff, and they just did a good job of like just making it cool. Like they didn't need to focus on explaining it with lore or anything. It's like
How does
he
the
has
time
a time
travel?
travel thing.
Yeah.
Cool. We get it. That's awesome. And I feel like Deadpool being so fourth wall breaky, they could have used that as a excuse to like look at the audience and explain how it all is working. They didn't need to. They're like, let's just lean on he's cool as hell. He's going to fight cool as hell and do sick as shit stuff with like tech that we have never seen. And
I only have 2 charges, one to get here, one to go back. It's lazy writing.
Yeah, it's just so great. But the action choreography in this movie completely blows my mind. Like, I feel like they use not just the violence, but like the fun of the music playing. I forget what's her name, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. Yeah.
It's just so good. The sun will come out tomorrow. Like, there's just so much great
Papa, can you hear me?
music moments combined with like great camera work. The whole opening scene of like them jumping around and just how violent and awesome the set pieces are. Like, there's just an energy that is so uniquely Deadpool, and I just think that they kind of knock it out of the park because it reminds me of John Wick. You know, like you only see that stuff in John Wick, but here it's like the style is taking up another notch because there's more character to Deadpool than there is John Wick, you know, in a fun way at least. And I'm so just enamored by their commitment to making every single action scene as fun as possible. And I think a lot about the Domino character, of how silly it is and how much they lean in on like, what the fuck is luck as a power? And there's the long one shot of like all the luck happening of her and the cars crashing that looks absolutely horrible. Like, the CG is so bad.
Yeah,
but
it's so bad.
I love that though, because not because it looks bad, but I'm so invested in how intricate the choreography is and how good a job they made it a fun scene that I don't even care that it looks like a PS2 game. Like, it is so fucking cool. And how we got this movie, I will never know. And the biggest turning point for me of like going from I like this a lot, but it's not Deadpool 1, to me being like, God damn, man, the Deadpool franchise is incredible. Juggernaut. They got Juggernaut. Juggernaut is like one of the most iconic X-Men characters ever because the Spider-Man cartoon, because it's just a big bad guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just having him be like a secret reveal that none of us knew was in the movie. It's freaking awesome.
It's so interesting because like while watching it, I loved seeing him on screen because I don't think it looked great.
Oh, it looked pretty cartoony.
But I loved the sort of stylization of it. It reminded me of watching a really good pre-rendered video game cutscene where when we saw like the Diablo reveal, or like, you know, Blizzard does a new thing where their CG is so damn good, but it's clear that doesn't look like somebody that can exist in this world just based on the look of it all. It was stylized enough that I really enjoyed the vibe of him. I enjoyed kind of seeing his weird face proportions underneath the mask. I thought it looked awesome, even though it didn't look convincing. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. See, for me, I think one of the reasons why I love it, the scene to me that sticks out to this and is just perfect for why Deadpool works, is like, you can forgive bad CG when you're being so creative that I'm having a great time on this roller coaster, right? And the scene that I always go back to is when Cable pulls the guns on him and he starts shooting, and Wade cuts the first bullet, and you're like, oh, he's gonna take both of them out and cut up. And about 5 seconds later, they just start the bullets start ripping
and that's
through.
The choreography, right, from X-Men Origins.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, where he did that in Origins, where he cut up every bullet. In this one, he just cuts the
first
first.
First one, like 13
so
just
good.
hit him, and he just acts like he's doing it. So good.
And then we didn't even talk about it, but like the kind of end of this movie, it's just so satisfying. The timeline jumping and like the Ryan Reynolds, like, this is gonna change my life, and like getting shot through the head, and the recut scene from Wolverine Origins, like all of that stuff is just so smart, like so well done. And I just can't believe we're about to get this third movie next
Hell
week.
yeah. And it's going to be absolutely taken up to 200%. Like, we're cranking this thing up to 11. You can already tell.
What movie was it in where, which Deadpool was it? I'm not sure if it was 1 or 2, maybe both, where Ryan Reynolds was sort of sacrificing a lot of his pay to have his writers.
It was 3.
Oh, it was part 3? Oh, okay.
That's because the writer's strike.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember there was another story about him and I think it was Chad Stahelski, like, coming at odds with each other because Ryan Reynolds wanted to make it like bigger and Chad wanted to keep it smaller or something like that. That might have been for Deadpool 2 or something.
Well, there was a lot of things. It wasn't so much about big or small, but like things got a little like hinky with the directors wanting to do different projects and like going off and doing things like Bullet Train and all that stuff.
Got it.
Because Ryan Reynolds, like, I mean, even as recent as last week, was doing an interview with Hugh Jackman and was talking about how like they want the budget for all these Deadpool movies to be exactly what it needs to be so that they can work within the confines of that, as opposed to ballooning and ballooning and ballooning.
Making $300 million and then, oh gosh, it has to hit $1 billion or it fails.
Yeah.